Honesty is the foundation upon which all meaningful change is built. Without honesty, there is no clear starting point, no accurate assessment of one's situation, and no real path forward. The truth can be painful, it can be uncomfortable, but it is the only thing that will set you free. The first step in transforming your life is to stop lying. To others, yes, but most importantly, to yourself. Most people live in a carefully constructed web of small and large deceptions. They tell themselves they are happy when they are not. They insist they are trying their best when deep down they know they are not. They make excuses for their failures, blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck rather than facing the real reasons for their stagnation. They suppress the voice inside them that whispers the truth because that truth demands responsibility, and responsibility is difficult. But the longer you avoid the truth, the more lost you become. To change, you must be brutally honest with yourself about who you are and where you stand. This is not an easy task. It requires self-reflection, courage, and the willingness to endure discomfort. If you are not in the shape you want to be in, admit that you have been undisciplined. If your relationships are strained, acknowledge your role in the conflict. If your career is stagnant, confront the fact that you may not be putting in the necessary effort. This is not about self-hatred or harsh judgment. It is about clarity. Without clarity, you cannot create a strategy for improvement. The problem is that most people deceive themselves because they fear change. They fear the responsibility that comes with truth. If you admit that you are not as disciplined as you should be, then you must take action to fix it. If you acknowledge that you are in a toxic relationship, then you must face the difficult decision of addressing it or leaving. If you recognize that your habits are destructive, then you are obligated to change them. And change is uncomfortable. It requires effort. It forces you out of your comfort zone. But here's the reality. Ignoring the truth does not make it disappear. It only allows it to fester, to grow stronger in the background until it becomes so unbearable that it breaks you. A person who avoids the truth about their health will eventually face the consequences of illness. A person who refuses to acknowledge their financial irresponsibility will one day find themselves in crisis. The longer you delay honesty, the heavier the burden becomes. Honesty is not just about admitting flaws. It is also about recognizing potential. Too many people convince themselves that they are incapable, that they are destined for mediocrity, that they are victims of their circumstances. They tell themselves a story in which they are powerless. But is that the truth? Or is it a convenient lie to avoid the difficulty of striving for something greater? True honesty forces you to look at both your weaknesses and your strengths. It demands that you acknowledge not only where you are failing, but also where you could succeed if you truly applied yourself. Once you start being honest with yourself, the next step is to bring that honesty into your daily actions. Speak truthfully, even when it is difficult. If you are unhappy, do not pretend otherwise. Express it, explore it, and take steps to improve your situation. If you have been avoiding a difficult conversation, have it. If you have been misleading others about who you are and what you want, stop. The more you align your words and actions with the truth, the stronger you become. You will find that people respect you more, that your confidence grows, and that life starts to make more sense. The world is chaotic. It is full of deception, manipulation, and uncertainty. The only way to navigate it successfully is to be anchored in truth. Truth provides clarity. It allows you to make decisions based on reality rather than illusion. It prevents you from wasting time chasing things that do not matter or avoiding problems that will only grow worse. Truth is the solid ground upon which you can build a life of meaning and purpose. So ask yourself, where are you lying? What truths have you been avoiding? What would happen if for one day you committed to complete honesty with yourself and with others? Would it be painful? Perhaps, but would it set you free? Absolutely. The sooner you start, the sooner you will find the strength, the direction, and the clarity needed to change yourself completely. Change does not come in one grand, sweeping moment of transformation. It is not the result of a sudden epiphany or a single heroic effort. Instead, real, lasting change is built on the back of small, orderly actions, seemingly insignificant choices made consistently over time. The problem is that most people dismiss small actions. They believe that unless they make a dramatic shift, their efforts will not matter. But this is a mistake. Small actions, repeated daily, have the power to completely reshape your life. Consider the chaos that exists in your life right now. It might be in your environment. Your room is a mess. Your finances are disorganized. Your schedule is all over the place. Or it could be internal. Your thoughts are scattered. Your habits are inconsistent. Your emotions feel out of control. Chaos does not disappear on its own. It grows in the absence of order. But most people feel overwhelmed by the size of the problem and do nothing. They look at their messy house, their failing health, or their struggling career and think, where do I even start? The answer is simple. Start small. Pick one thing, just one, and fix it. Clean your desk, organize your closet, pay off one small debt, wake up at the same time every day. These actions seem minor, almost too insignificant to matter, but they do matter. Because the moment you impose order on one aspect of your life, you prove to yourself that you have control. And once you see that control is possible, you begin to expand it. Imagine someone who has neglected their health for years. They are out of shape, eat poorly, and feel lethargic. If they attempt to fix everything overnight, completely overhauling their diet, forcing themselves into an intense workout routine, they will likely fail. The change is too drastic, too overwhelming. But if they start small, drinking more water, taking a 10-minute walk each day, cutting out one unhealthy food, they begin to build momentum. Over time, these small actions compound, leading to significant transformation. The same principle applies to your mind. If your thoughts are chaotic, if you feel anxious or unfocused, you might think you need a dramatic breakthrough to change. But breakthroughs are rare. What actually works is simple, daily discipline. Start by writing down your thoughts. Organize them. Prioritize what truly matters. Limit distractions. A single act of order, making a to-do list, planning your day, setting a small goal can bring clarity to your mind and reduce overwhelm. One of the greatest benefits of small, orderly actions is that they create momentum. When you accomplish something, no matter how small, your brain recognizes it as a success. Success breeds confidence, and confidence fuels further action. A person who cleans their room today feels a little better about themselves. That small feeling of accomplishment might inspire them to organize their schedule tomorrow. Then they might feel motivated to exercise, to read, to work harder. One small act of order sets off a chain reaction. This is why people who adopt even the simplest disciplined habits tend to excel over time. Take, for example, someone who wakes up at the same time every day. That one habit alone creates structure. It improves sleep, increases productivity, and enhances focus. Over time, the benefits of that single habit extend into every area of life. Similarly, a person who reads just 10 pages of a book each day may not feel an immediate difference, but in a year, they will have consumed wisdom that can reshape their entire worldview. It is easy to underestimate the power of these small actions because their effects are not always immediate, but real change is not immediate. It is gradual. And that is why discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. Discipline, however, is built through consistent, orderly actions. The more you commit to small improvements, the more disciplined you become, and the more your life begins to align with the person you want to be. The world is inherently chaotic. It is full of distractions, temptations, and forces beyond your control. You cannot impose order on the entire world, but you can impose it on your life. And when you do, you gain strength, you gain clarity, you gain the ability to handle whatever chaos comes your way. So if you want to change your life, do not wait for some grand moment of inspiration. Do not expect a sudden transformation. Instead, start small. Fix one thing. Bring order to one part of your life. Then do it again and again. Over time, these small acts of order will create a structure so strong that nothing can shake it. And in that structure, you will find freedom. Responsibility is the foundation of a meaningful life. Without it, you drift. You become a victim of circumstance, blaming external forces for your failures, weaknesses, and disappointments. But the moment you take full responsibility for everything in your life, your actions, your mindset, your success, and even your suffering, you gain control. You stop waiting for change and start creating it. This is what I call radical responsibility, the unshakable acceptance that everything in your life, whether directly or indirectly, is your responsibility to improve. Most people avoid responsibility because it is difficult. It is far easier to blame the world, the government, bad luck, or other people than it is to look in the mirror and say, I am the problem and I must fix it. But blaming others does nothing to change your situation. It only reinforces your own helplessness. The more you externalize your problems, the less power you have to solve them. Responsibility, on the other hand, is power. It gives you agency. The moment you say, this is on me, you also say, I can change this. Consider any area of your life that you are unhappy with. Maybe it's your health, maybe it's your career, maybe it's your relationships. Now ask yourself, what role have you played in creating this situation? Be brutally honest. Have you neglected your health by making poor choices? Have you failed to develop skills or put in the necessary effort to advance in your career? Have you contributed to relationship conflicts by being selfish, reactive, or avoidant? The answer will always be yes, because nothing in your life exists in isolation. Your actions, your habits, and your mindset shape everything. But what about circumstances beyond your control? What about being born into hardship, dealing with illness, or suffering from other people's actions? The truth is, there will always be things you cannot control. Life is unfair, chaotic, and often brutal. But you still have control over how you respond. That is the essence of radical responsibility. It does not mean blaming yourself for things outside your control. It means taking full ownership of how you deal with them. You can choose to let adversity defeat you, or you can choose to rise above it. Some people have every reason to fail. They were raised in broken homes, they were mistreated, they faced terrible circumstances, and yet they succeed, not because life was kind to them, but because they refused to surrender to victimhood. They decided that no matter what, they would take responsibility for their future. Others, despite having every advantage, fail because they refuse to take responsibility. They blame their upbringing, their environment, or society, and in doing so, they surrender their power. Responsibility requires discipline. It means holding yourself to a higher standard. It means admitting when you are wrong, correcting your mistakes and learning from them. It means showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, and doing the hard things necessary to improve. It means looking at your life and asking, what can I do right now to make this better? Instead of waiting for someone else to change your situation, you take the initiative. This mindset applies to everything. If you are in a job you hate, take responsibility for finding a better one. If you are in a toxic relationship, take responsibility for setting boundaries or leaving. If you are struggling with motivation, take responsibility for creating discipline. Excuses will always be available, but so will solutions. The difference is whether you choose to act. Radical responsibility also changes how you interact with others. When you take full responsibility for your life, you stop expecting others to save you, you stop resenting people for their success, and start focusing on your own growth. You become someone others can rely on because they see that you are in control. You inspire respect, not through words, but through action. Most people live in a passive state, They react to life rather than shaping it. But when you embrace responsibility, you shift from being a victim to being a creator. You realize that you have the power to design your own future, to build yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. That power exists in every decision you make, no matter how small. So, stop blaming, stop making excuses, stop waiting. Take responsibility, own your life. The moment you do, you will realize that you are not powerless, you never were. And once you accept that, nothing can stop you. Fear is the silent force that keeps people trapped in lives they do not want. It stops them from taking risks, from speaking their mind, from pursuing their true potential. It whispers doubts, magnifies insecurities, and convinces them that staying where they are, no matter how unsatisfying, is safer than venturing into the unknown. But here's the truth. Fear only has as much power as you give it. The more you avoid it, the stronger it grows. The only way to take back control is to face fear head on, deliberately and consistently, until it loses its grip on you. Most people try to avoid fear at all costs. They procrastinate on difficult conversations, shy away from challenges, and stay within the boundaries of what feels comfortable. But avoidance does not eliminate fear, it amplifies it. Every time you run from something that scares you, you reinforce the belief that it is too big to handle. Your mind registers it as a threat, and the next time you encounter it, the fear is even greater. This is how people become trapped, afraid to fail, afraid to be judged, afraid to step outside the lines they have drawn for themselves. But fear is not a signal to retreat. Fear is a signal to move forward. It exists as a biological mechanism to keep you alert, to make you sharper, to push you to grow. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is not the absence of fear, it is their relationship with it. Successful people feel fear just like everyone else, but they do not let it dictate their actions. Instead, they confront it. They walk toward it rather than away from it. And in doing so, they expand their limits. Facing fear is not about being reckless. It is about developing courage. And courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting in spite of it. You do not need to eliminate fear to move forward. You need to learn to carry it with you and act anyway. The best way to do this is by exposing yourself to what scares you, gradually and intentionally. If you fear public speaking, start by speaking in front of a small group. If you fear failure, take on a small challenge where failure is possible but manageable. If you fear rejection, put yourself in situations where you might hear no. Each time you confront fear, you teach your brain that you can handle it. Over time, what once seemed terrifying becomes just another challenge to overcome. One of the biggest lies fear tells you is that you are not ready, that you need more time, more preparation, more certainty. But this is an illusion. You will never feel fully ready because growth always requires stepping into the unknown. Waiting for the fear to disappear before you take action means waiting forever. Instead, take action first before you feel ready, before you feel confident. The confidence will come later as a result of your actions. Fear is also the guardian of your greatest potential. The things you are most afraid to do are often the very things that will lead to the greatest growth. If you are terrified of speaking up, it is because deep down, you know your voice matters. If you are afraid of pursuing your dreams, it is because those dreams truly mean something to you. Fear points to the areas where you have the most room to evolve. The more you resist it, the more you deny yourself the opportunity to become who you are meant to be. But here's the most important part. The moment you step through fear, you realize it was never as powerful as you thought. The monster you imagined in your head is rarely as big in reality. And once you break through one fear, you start to wonder, what else have I been afraid of that I no longer need to be? This is how people grow exponentially, by continuously proving to themselves that fear does not control them, So stop waiting, stop avoiding, stop letting fear be the thing that dictates the size of your life. Face it, walk toward it, own it, and soon you will realize that what once seemed impossible is now just another step on the path to your best self. Most people believe that motivation is the key to success. They think that if they can just feel inspired enough, energized enough, or passionate enough, they will finally take action. But this belief is one of the greatest obstacles to real progress. Motivation is unreliable. It comes in waves, appearing when things are exciting and disappearing the moment things become difficult. If you rely on motivation, you will only take action when you feel like it, which means you will be inconsistent, undisciplined, and ultimately unsuccessful. Discipline, not motivation, is what separates those who succeed from those who do not. Discipline is the ability to take action regardless of how you feel. It is showing up and doing the work even when you are tired, uninspired, or discouraged. It is keeping commitments to yourself, not because you are excited in the moment, but because you have decided that the goal is worth it. Unlike motivation, which is fleeting, discipline is dependable. It is something you can build, strengthen, and rely on every single day. The problem with motivation is that it is based on emotion. And emotions are unstable. One day you might wake up feeling ready to conquer the world. The next day you might feel exhausted, lazy, or doubtful. If your actions are dictated by how you feel in the moment, you will never achieve anything worthwhile. The truth is, no one always feels like doing the hard things. No one always feels like exercising, studying, working, or pushing through discomfort. The difference between winners and losers is that winners act anyway. Discipline is built through consistent action. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Think of it like a muscle. If you train it daily, it grows. If you neglect it, it weakens. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce the habit of discipline. Every time you push through resistance and take action, you prove to yourself that you are capable of doing hard things. And over time, these small acts of discipline accumulate, leading to massive results. People who rely on motivation often quit as soon as things get hard. They start a new diet when they feel inspired, but abandon it when cravings kick in. They begin a new project with enthusiasm, but give up when progress slows. They dream of success, but never develop the habits necessary to achieve it. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It is what allows you to push through boredom, frustration, and failure. It is what ensures that you keep making progress, even on the days when you would rather do anything else. One of the most effective ways to develop discipline is to create structure. Do not leave your actions up to chance. Set clear, non-negotiable routines. Decide in advance what you will do and when you will do it. Then follow through regardless of how you feel. If you decide that you will work out every morning, then work out every morning, whether you feel like it or not. If you commit to writing for an hour each day, then sit down and write, whether inspiration strikes or. The more you make discipline a habit, the less you have to rely on fleeting bursts of motivation. Another key to discipline is removing unnecessary decision-making. The more choices you have to make, the more opportunities you have to give in to excuses. If you wake up every morning and ask yourself, do I feel like working out today? The answer will often be no. But if working out is simply a fixed part of your routine, like brushing your teeth, there is no debate, no decision to be made. You just do it. The less you rely on willpower, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. Discipline is also about keeping the promises you make motivation to yourself. Is a great feeling, but it is not a strategy. Break your own commitments, you motivated before taking action, you will never build the life you want. This discipline is the real key to success. And weakens your ability. It is the ability to take action when motivation is gone. But when you develop the habit of doing what you say you will do, things get difficult. You build trust in yourself. The people who achieve greatness are not the someone who takes action, no matter the circumstances. They are the ones who show up and do reliability, no matter what. Powerful force. So, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop hoping for motivation to strike. Start building discipline. make a plan, stick to it, push through resistance. And over time, you will realize that you no longer need motivation to take action because discipline has already carried you to where you want to be. Most people drift through life without a clear sense of direction. They move from one thing to the next, reacting to circumstances rather than shaping their own path. They work jobs they do not enjoy, engage in relationships that do not fulfill them, and waste time on distractions that bring no real meaning. Then years pass, and they wonder why they feel lost, stuck, or dissatisfied. The reason is simple. They never took the time to gain clarity on what they truly want and where they need to go. Without clarity, there is no direction. Without direction, there is no progress. And without progress, there is no fulfillment. Clarity is the foundation of a meaningful life. It allows you to make decisions with confidence, pursue goals with purpose, and eliminate distractions that do not serve you. But clarity does not come automatically. You must actively seek it. You must step away from the noise of daily life, confront the difficult questions, and decide with honesty who you are and what you want. Most people avoid this process because it is uncomfortable. It forces them to acknowledge where they are falling short. It demands that they take responsibility for their choices. But until you gain clarity, you will remain trapped in cycles of confusion and frustration. The first step to clarity is self-examination. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Not what others expect of me, not what seems safe, but what actually matters to me. What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to build? Be brutally honest. Do not censor your answers based on fear or doubt. If you do not know what you want, then ask yourself, what do I not want? What do I know for certain is not right for me? Sometimes eliminating what is wrong helps reveal what is right. Once you have clarity on your desires, the next step is to create direction. Clarity without action is useless. If you have identified what you want, you must now map out a path to get there. Break your goal down into smaller, tangible steps. If you want to build a new career, what skills do you need? If you want better relationships, what habits must you change? If you want to improve your health, what daily actions will move you forward? Direction means taking that vision and transforming it into a concrete plan. The biggest mistake people make when setting direction is waiting for motivation. They think they need to feel inspired before they take action. But clarity and direction are not about feelings. They are about discipline. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. But discipline, built through structured action, is what creates real transformation. Set a course, commit to it, and follow through even when you do not feel like it. This is how you turn vision into reality. Clarity also requires eliminating distractions. Every day you are bombarded with endless options. Entertainment, social media, obligations that do not align with your priorities. If you do not actively filter out the noise, you will become overwhelmed, scattered, and ineffective. When you have clarity, you know what to say no to. You stop wasting time on things that do not serve your mission. You stop being pulled in 100 different directions. Instead, you become focused, sharp, and purposeful. Direction does not mean rigidity. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes adjustments are necessary, but the key is to make adjustments without losing sight of the bigger picture. If a roadblock appears, do not give up. Find another route. If your initial plan does not work, refine it. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It is about knowing your destination and being willing to adapt as needed while staying on course. A person with clarity and direction is unstoppable. They move through life with confidence, knowing exactly what they are working toward. They do not waste energy on trivial matters. They are not easily swayed by distractions, temptations, or the opinions of others. They wake up with purpose and go to bed with the satisfaction of having moved forward. This is the power of knowing where you are going. So, if you feel lost, uncertain, or stuck, do not wait for clarity to find you. Seek it. take time to reflect, decide what truly matters, and create a path forward. The moment you do, your life will change. Because once you have clarity and direction, nothing can stand in your way